guys. Now Anastasia Beverly Hills has a new cheek product out in the market, so I went ahead and grabbed a couple. Now this is just called the Blush Trios. I like it that they went with a very simple name. So as the name suggests, this is a blush palette and they come in trios, 3 blushes in one palette, and this retails for $30. And the amount of product you get is 3 grams each, which is actually a lot of product, guys. 3 grams is like a full-size product. Just for reference, this Milani baked blush contains 3.5 grams, 0.5 grams more, but around the same quantity. So this is 3 grams each. Let me just show the shades that I got. This is Berry Adore. And this is Peachy Love. Now they have actually 5 palettes like this, and I picked 2. Now the Berry Adore, as you can see, this is the shades that you get. It looked like very dark skin friendly, so that's why I picked it up. Now you're thinking, why did I pick it up? Because this is like Peachy Love, as the name suggests. All you get peach tones, and usually light toned blushes don't show up on dark skin, and that's not the fault of my skin. It's just the blushes that I've used so far do not have a beautiful formulation, good formulation. That's why they didn't show up on my skin. So I really wanted to test and see if these light toned blushes, if they do show up on my skin, and if their formulation is really good or not. That's why I picked up a light toned blush for my skin tone. So anyways, as I said, these retails for $30, and you get 3 full size. I'm going to call them full size, guys. You get a lot of product. This each 3 grams of product, it's like you're getting 3 full size blushes, and usually in palettes you get less amount of product, right? It's probably 1 gram, 1.5 gram is what you would get. It's the whole point of a palette. You get less product for like a good economical price, but they do give you a lot of product, 3 grams each, which brings up to 9 grams of product each palette. And these are made in China, and this is vegan and cruelty free. I'm not sure about the entire brand Anastasia Beverly Hills, but this product is vegan and cruelty free. And yeah, let's get right into it. Let's do obviously let's do swatches. Now Velvet, Exotic and Desert. Now this is Velvet, Exotic and Desert. Now it does come with oh, I forgot to show you guys the packaging. It comes like in a plastic packaging. It's pretty sturdy actually, and there's like I don't know if you can see, there's a very subtle like a layer underneath the actual packaging, which oh yeah, I hope you can see. It just has the Anastasia Beverly Hills logo, which is very pretty actually. The packaging is very pretty, but please do not buy this just for the packaging. Please do not. But anyways, it just says Anastasia Beverly Hills here, and it does have like a details of the shades that you get, and also it doesn't have the list of ingredients in the actual product, but in the box it does have a list of ingredients. So if you get rid of this, I think if you want to refer back to the list of ingredients in case of allergies or something, I think you would have to rely on the website. So let's do swatches. It does come with a mirror here. I don't want to blind you guys. And this is Velvet, which is a matte blush, and the center one is Exotic, which is a satin blush, and then this is Desert. Let's do swatches. It is a berry shade. Now reddish berry shade, and then you have like a satin. Actually, the top one is more of a berry shade, and the center one is more of a reddish berry shade, and the bottom one is more of a coral shade. Now, when you look at the pan, yeah, oh yeah, there you go. That's the swatches. Now, it looks like these 2 shades are very similar, but actually this is quite light on my skin tone. I was actually disappointed in this palette. Can you imagine? I picked this up because thinking that it would complement darker skin tone, but it did not. Out of these three shades, this is the only one which actually showed up on my skin tone without any problem. Just once I had to pick it up and apply it on my, sweep it on my cheeks, and just beautifully showed up. It was pigmented, but it was not crazy pigmented to the point that it would go from you know, nothing to like crazy like in a second. It was not like that, but it was pigmented. Just one sweep, just dip your brush in once and sweep it across your cheeks. It goes on beautifully. It actually gives you a very, it's not like patchy, it's not, doesn't skip, it actually applies evenly. Oh, before I proceed with the swatches and review, I have to tell you guys that I do not wear like a makeup base or concealer like a foundation. So I did like test these on bare skin. I just use a moisturizer and then light dusting of powder. So it's just almost bare skin. So on bare skin, I have to say on bare skin, these two do not show up at all. I sat there building up more and more, and this probably after 5 times of building up, 5 layers, started to show up a little bit, but this never showed up at all. So this is like a complete flop on my skin without a foundation. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I don't know, maybe it would show up with foundation. I don't know if foundation would like actually make that happen, but on bare skin this shows up beautifully without any problem. And this I had to build up like 5 times. This looks so similar to this, right? I was actually very disappointed as to why this didn't show up, and now I see the finger swatches and I see why. This, the center shade is definitely lighter than the top shade, don't you think? It's definitely on like a coral kind of a undertone. It does have like coral undertones in it, whereas the top shade is completely berry, so that's why probably it was pretty pigmented. So I'm not exactly happy with this palette. I love the formulation, is beautiful. It's actually pigmented but not crazy pigmented, to the point that it's very buildable and it's actually really nice, and it does last on my skin, meaning without a makeup base like a foundation or concealer. This these two is the one I'm wearing on my cheeks. On this cheek I have this shade, and this side I have the center shade, the satiny kind of a blush is what I have on this side. So both actually, let me just take a look. This side I don't see anything left, but this side I can actually definitely see the blush, meaning on this side I have the center shade, the satin shade, which is not so, it looks pigmented on the swipe, but the one I actually struggled to build up, say 5 layers would do the trick. So that I don't see it anymore. But on this side, the matte true berry shade is definitely, I can still see it. It still is on my cheeks. I've been wearing this for 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, so I can still see it on my cheek without on. This is on bare skin. So I love this blush, not these two. So honestly, I'm not so sure about this blush palette. Maybe if they come out with like single blushes, maybe I would definitely recommend this this shade in Velvet. Velvet is so beautiful, and it actually also lasts without even like a makeup base or anything. And now let's move on to Peachy Love. So it's, I wouldn't say that this is my fault that I picked up a lighter palette, because a good formulation should show up. Like for example, the Givenchy Prism something blushes, which I had reviewed on my channel. I will link that down below. I think they retail for $46, I think $45, $46 each, and that's not a palette, that's like a single blush, that's a single full-size blush, and that's like $46. And they have a shade very close to this, or wait, this, I think this shade, this first shade, and believe it or not, that if you build it up, it showed true to what you see in the pan on my cheeks, and it lasted just on bare skin. So I'm going to say that if this doesn't show up on my skin, I mean, I know whether it showed up or not, but I'm just saying, if a blush doesn't show up on my skin, it's not my fault. The formulation is not good. That's my That's how I conclude it. But so these are the swatches, and as you can see, these are very pale shades. This is not a true matte shade. This is matte with a glitter sprinkled here and there. So that is Miami. This is like a beautiful or very pale orange shade, like a mandarin shade, I would say. And then the center shade is like a true coral shade, and that's ginger, which is a matte shade. And then here you have nectarine. Nectarine is, as they say, it's not completely coral, it has brown tones to it, so it's like a brownish peach is what I would say. So this is like a very beautiful shade, like mandarin shade, and then you have like true coral, and then you have like a brownish peach. Now, oh wait, these two are matte shades with just a glitter sprinkled in the randomly sprinkled in the in the pan, and then this is the center one is a true matte. Now, in a gist, none of these shades actually show up on me, so I'm not going to say that I chose the wrong trio, because they didn't say anything about this is meant for medium, this is meant for dark. So I'm going to say this is the fault of the formulation, the product. These three products do not show up on my skin tone at all, no matter how many times I build it up. It's just completely a useless trio for a dark skin. So it's a just no for me. Since it didn't show up on my skin tone, I don't know how they perform, how they look, so I can't really review this this palette, I feel. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in both the trios. The only blush that showed up on my skin is this guy, this matte berry shade. So my conclusion and my decision is to return these. Even the blushes in the darker trio, which is Berry Adore, only just one showed up on my skin tone, and the center one I had to build up at least 5 times for it to show, and I don't see it. It's not I don't see it. This shade is definitely actually really good. So please do not buy this trio just for the shade, because there are so many beautiful blushes out there. For example, unfortunately, I do not have my favorite berry toned blush right now, but this is by Milani. I think they have a shade called Berry Amore, which is a stunning reddish berry shade, which is beautiful. And then if you're looking for a beautiful coral toned blush, this is Rose Doro by Milani, and this is a beautiful blush. Do you see how light it looks? It doesn't look like it would show up on a deeper skin, but this beautifully shows up on a deeper skin tone, guys. Do you see? This is very similar to one of these shades, I would say. These 3 shades are from the Peachy Love trio, the lighter toned blush. And this, don't you think this is very similar to one of these shades? Or if you mix up one of these 2 shades, you would get the shade. But this actually shows up beautifully on my skin tone, and I have no problems. That's what I call a very good, very well formulated blush. It doesn't have to be like the perfect shade or anything. This shade is light toned, and it shows up on my skin tone as a peachy blush. Now, if you're looking for that perfect nectarine shade, I do have an alternative from Milani again, and this is called Corallina. Now this is like a shiny blush, the Rose Doro. It does have shimmers in it, and this is Corallina, which is like a beautiful nectarine mandarin kind of a shade. And again, this is very similar to these 3 shades. If you mix and match these 3 shades, you would definitely get this shade, but this shows actually true to what you see in the pan on the cheeks. So that's what, again, I call a good, well formulated blush. It shouldn't matter, it should show up on any kind of skin tone. And then so in conclusion, Milani has some great blushes, and this retails for somewhere between $8 and $9. I think if you get it in Walmart or Target, you'd actually get it even more for a lesser price. think Milani's website, they sell it for $9, I think. I'm not entirely sure. So I would any day pick up my Milani blushes over these because irrespective of what the shade is, these actually show up on my skin tone, and they are and these are made in and Milani blushes are made in Italy, and you get 3.5 grams. So even if you pick up 3 Milani blushes separately, you get more product for less price, because if you break down the price for this is $30 for 3 blushes. So you get, if you break it down, it's $10 each, and Milani's full-size blushes do not retail for $10. They're definitely somewhere between $8 and $9, or $7 to $9. So even if you pick up 3 full-size Milani blushes, you get more product, because each pan carries 3 grams here, and each pan is 3.5 grams. So no matter how you look at it, it's like Milani is definitely a win, because pigmentation is amazing. If you're looking for a berry shade, just go with Berry Amore from Milani. I'm so sorry, I'm kicking myself. I couldn't find that blush, but I love the blush. It's really, really beautifully pigmented. And then if you're looking for a peachy shade, I sincerely suggest and advise you guys to get the Rose D'Oro from Milani or the Corallina. Rose D'Oro is more of like a very toned down peachy blush, and this is like a very bright, loud, like a mandarin shade. It's very, very pretty. But I have to say, both blushes have like a good amount of shimmer in it. So these are like luminous blushes. So there's that to consider. If you are completely against shimmers in your blushes, I don't think you will like these. But again, Milani does carry, and the Berry Amore also is like a shimmery blush. It's not like a matte blush. But if you're really interested in matte blush, Milani does have matte blushes. This is Bella Rosa. I have you need to have a lot of like real skill if you want to use this, because it's so crazy pigmented. This is like a beautiful pinky red shade. This is a matte blush, matte red blush. So Milani does have a few matte blushes as well. So yeah, that's my take on these Anastasia Beverly Hills blush trios. I do not like them. They are going back. And yeah, hope you guys found this video useful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked watching it, and please subscribe. Bye.